Hello, I'm going to give an introduction to my speech first of all. This is a speech for consecutive, and it's about gender inequality in the workplace. I'm going to try to explain why there still is gender inequality in the workplace and consider some possible solutions. Okay, so that's the introduction, and now I'll begin. Why are the majority of business executives and politicians men? Why, in general, do men earn slightly more than women? Is it because we still live in a sexist, patriarchal society? Well, perhaps we do, but what I'd like to explain in this speech is that the majority of the reasons for this gender inequality in terms of pay actually come from differences in the values and priorities between men and women. Not the whole difference, but a lot of it does come from that. Now, what do I mean by differences in values and priorities? Well, what I'm about to say is a stereotype, but it is broadly true. Men tend to be a little bit more motivated than women by things such as status, money, and power. Whereas women tend to be a little bit more motivated than men by caring for other people. Now, yes, it's a caricature, but it's broadly true. So that can explain a lot. It explains why men are more driven to success and to getting to the top, why they want to become these business executives, why they want to be bankers, why they want to earn a lot of money, because that is a stronger motivating factor on the whole in men. And it explains why women tend to go for different professions. The caring aspect of women changes things in a number of ways. On the first hand, it can affect a woman's choice of career. It's more likely, on the whole, that women are going to go for more caring professions, such as teaching or nursing or social work, and unfortunately those jobs are less well paid. So that can explain part of the difference in pay, the different motivations in the choice of jobs. But it's not just that, because these differences in values can also be present when men and women choose the same job. So, for example, if a woman chooses to work in banking or to be a politician or a slightly sort of high-profile job, the woman is more likely than the man to say, success is not everything. I want to balance my work life with my family life. So it's not that women aren't ambitious, but they're more likely to be a bit more balanced in their approach. They're less likely to have that absolute single-minded attempt to get to the top, to become what we could call the alpha male. So you could say then, well, if these differences in pay are due to differences in what motivates men and women, then what's the problem? Men and women make different choices, and that largely explains the fact that men get higher paying jobs. Well, no, it's not as simple as that, because there are a lot of aspects of gender inequality that are definitely unfair. And I'm going to mention a few of them now. For example, there's the fact that overall, women actually work more than men, if in work you include all the time dedicated to family and caring for older relatives and so on. So if you add up the household tasks, the childcare and the professional career, women actually spend more time doing all of this work than men. So there's an unfair distribution of time, an unfair distribution of work that's done. The solution, in my opinion, is not that women should spend less time on their professional careers. I think the solution is that men should spend more time raising the children and doing work in the home to balance things out. There's another aspect of gender inequality which is very unfair. And this relates to maternity leave. Now, maternity leave generally is longer for women than for men, for obvious biological reasons. Now, that puts women at a disadvantage because it's very difficult to get back into the workplace after a long maternity leave, especially if you take like a year or longer. Men don't do that as often, take so much time off. So it puts women at a disadvantage compared to men. But it's not just that. There's also the fact that women are discriminated against in the workplace just because employers believe that they're more likely to take a long maternity leave. So even just when they arrive in the company and they go for interview, there is a prejudice against women because the employers, quite rationally, believe that the women are more likely to take time off work. And this is unfair. What are the solutions? Well, I'd propose something similar, that instead of getting women to take less maternity leave, I believe that things should be evened out by getting men to take more paternity leave. I personally think that is a better solution. Now, finally, there's a third aspect of gender inequality, which I think is not good for society. And this is a different aspect. And that is that if it's always the men, or more often the men, who get the top jobs, who are the CEOs of the big companies, and they become the political leaders, what does that mean? Well, it means that the decisions that affect our lives in various ways tend to be taken by men rather than women. Now, I personally would rather live in a society which is more equal in that respect. I'd like to think that important decisions were made both by men and women, that both genders, both sexes, can contribute to how we develop our society, what decisions are made. So that's another reason to try and ensure there's more equality in the workplace. Now, it's very, very difficult to solve this problem. It's a very tricky issue. We don't want to try and solve this problem by telling women to be less caring, to spend less time with their family, or tell women that you need to be more ambitious. I don't think that's the solution. I think the solution, as I've said, is to try and get men to play a greater role in those aspects of life that are traditionally reserved for women. Anyway, it's very complex, and it requires a cultural and social change, not just a few political measures. This is something that's going to take a while to sort out. But I think it's very important that we do. If we want to create a healthy, happy, and more equal society, then this is a challenge we have to face up to. Thank you.